Welcome to Unfiltered. It's another week, 2 weeks away from the presidential election. I've got a lot I want to talk about today. A lot of misconceptions among people in general. I want to remind you, this show is my opinions. Opinions. Everything is somebody's opinion. Everything you read is somebody's opinion, slanted slightly one way or another, depending on the person's experiences, life experiences, education, the way they were raised. A number of things go into each one of our psyches that makes us believe what we believe. So, first thing I want to start with, let's start with war in general, okay? War, it's a horrible thing. It's been going on for thousands of years, ever since there was, a handful of people on Earth. They have fought each other, basically for power. Number one, we the people do not start wars. Let me explain what I just said. We, the average American citizen, does not start wars. Russian citizens do not start wars. Iranian citizens don't start wars. Syrian citizens don't start wars. Governments start wars. Let's get that completely straight. Politicians start wars. Period. Nobody asked me if we should go to war. As a matter of fact, you look at our past wars, the Vietnam War, the majority of people in the United States were against even getting involved in that war. But the almighty beings in charge, our illustrious government, said we were going to war. There is a small handful of people that decide when we go to war and when we don't go to war and who our enemies are. We don't decide who our enemies are. They do. The government decides who our enemies are. Here's another fallacy. The military is here to protect the citizens of the United States. That's crap. The military has one job: to protect the United States government. Again, that small handful of people. And believe me when I tell you that if the American people actually become a threat to the government, they will turn the military on us. Yeah. Now, with that said, now that I've got you thinking about how wars start, I can't fathom why wars start other than, again, power, money, greed, let's take Russia, for example. Apparently, we don't like Russia because they're trying to put soldiers in Crimea, and they're trying to put soldiers in Syria, and they're trying to spread their country out. Wait a minute. We've got bases in 190 countries. Military bases with American feet on the ground in those bases in 190 countries. What makes us different than Russia? Nothing. Nothing at all. There's an old saying, if you mind your own business, you'll be too busy to mind anybody else's. What goes on halfway around the world is none of our business, other than business. The amount of money that we can make, either selling weapons to one side or the other, or hey, better yet, we sell weapons to both sides and we make out. Now let me go into our enemies. I'm tired of hearing about the Russians. You know? They say Russia is our enemy. Now, I know that, because of my little extracurricular activities, my memory isn't, as sharp as it could be. But I don't remember any Russian names on any of the planes that were involved in 9/11. I don't remember any Russians beheading Americans. The Russians weren't involved in, the Orlando nightclub shootings, the San Bernardino shootings, and I don't believe the Russians are the hackers. It's a line of crap, and it's easy because we spent 50 years in a Cold War with Russia. So for 50 years, Russia was our enemy. Before that, Russia was our friend, and we were helping them out to kick Hitler's ass. And then they were our enemy. Russia supports Iran. Another reason why they're our enemy. But we just gave Iran a bunch of money. We give Saudi Arabia money, who treat women like crap and gays even worse. Again, the people that decide who our enemies are twisted. Plain and simple. My sister lives in Eastport, Maine. She works at a restaurant that, because it's in Eastport, Maine, it's basically a seasonal restaurant. And every spring, a group of Russians come over on visa and staff the restaurant. We've got places in Keene where a lot of people with Russian visas come over every year. When I worked at Athens, we had, I think, 2 or 3 or 4 Russians working at Athens Pizza. Those folks don't hate America. Those folks love America. They love the opportunity that when they come to America, they make money. You know, if Russia is such an enemy, why are we allowing Russians into the country? You see how just utterly stupid that is? To say that Russia is our enemy, to poke and prod and accuse Russia of all this stuff, but yet to welcome their folks into our country to work and to experience the American way of life. I believe we can still travel to Russia. Can't travel to Cuba, but we can travel to Russia. And again, Cuba hasn't done anything to us. Cuba's a little island nation we could take out with one squadron of bombers if we had to. Being a former military guy, I'm not a big proponent of war. And if you ask any military person, they're not a big proponent of war. The military is a lot nicer job when you don't have to kill people. You can train to kill people, practice to kill people, be ready to kill people, but until somebody attacks us, we shouldn't have to worry about it. But oh no, those few people in the shadows that decide who we hate and who we're going to kill. None of that is up to us. Everything that's been spouted about in this election is out of our control as citizens. It's politicians, it's the government that has gotten us into this mess and doesn't seem to want to get us out. And why would they? It's easier to control a population if they're starving and weak. And again, when it comes time to overthrow the government, because we've finally had enough, and the sheep will eventually become the wolves, when we've finally had enough, and we assert that right that's in the Constitution to replace our government, it will never happen. Why? Because the government owns the military. The military is not that Second Amendment militia that they talk about. The militia that they talk about in the Constitution is an army of citizens to protect other citizens from the government. That's right. Military people, right now, are not liking the government one bit. Due to the fact that 10 years ago, when they were having a hard time finding people who would go to Iraq and die for this country, started giving out huge re-enlistment bonuses. And don't say that's wrong, because corporations do it all the time. Corporations give out retention bonuses, they give out sign-on bonuses. It's just the way it is. It's an enticement to get you to do something. It's bribery is basically what it is. So the government offers these huge re-enlistment bonuses to soldiers if they'll stay in the war zone and risk their lives for nothing. Soldiers got in line. Sure, give me extra money. I'll stay and fight for extra money. Again, it's a kind of a mercenary thing. When I was in the service, there was a time when re-enlistment bonus could be anything from extra pay to, a ride in an F-14 Tomcat. They ended that apparently when somebody that was taking a ride ejected himself out of the plane. They were like, that's it for the rides. So, needless to say, I was in no hurry to re-enlist. Now, after the government gave these people, I think it was like $15,000 in re-enlistment bonuses for re-upping. Now the government says they've got to pay it all back. And they're actually they're attaching these soldiers' wages, and these people, a lot of them aren't even soldiers anymore. And it's dumb. Remember, if you're in the military, remember the phrase, protect, I don't have my computer today either, I forgot it. Protecting America from all bad guys, foreign and domestic. Yeah. And at this point, the biggest threat to our society is our own government. This election's been designed from the start to pull us apart. It has. It's opened up every ism that you could think of, thrown allegations back and forth, little things. You know? Abortion, religion, economic stuff, ageism, sexism, racism. Those are the issues that you've been hearing about in this campaign since the beginning. And it's designed that way. Because each one of those issues is a deeply held, they're all individual. There's not 10 people. If you put 10 people together, you won't get a consensus on the abortion issue. Hell, we can't even land on a spot where, yes, this is where life begins. We can't even figure that out. Again, we don't take care of the people in our own country. Everybody points to that picture of that little bloody-faced kid in Aleppo. Look around, folks. We've got bloody-faced kids right here in the United States that we pay no attention to. Refugees. Take in the refugees. Take in the refugees. You know what? Where does an American refugee go? You know where American refugees go? To ISIS. We need a strong military. We definitely need a strong military. We need a strong enough military that we never have to use it. That's what the Cold War was. The Cold War was, Russia's bigger than us. We're bigger than Russia. Russia's bigger than us. We're bigger than Russia. Russia's bigger than us. And again, it's stupid because it's not the people in these countries that are making the decisions. It's that handful of people who are in Washington, and you never even hear their names. They're the ones that tell us who we should be hating and who we should be killing, but they will never go out and kill people. They will never be blamed for anything. The people that start the wars don't take the flak for the wars. When America goes into another country, it's us. We take the blame. Americans take the blame. Not that little group of people that was sitting there around the TV when bin Laden got dusted. Those are the people that start the wars. Those are the people that tell us who to hate. We don't decide who to hate. The government tells us who to hate. It's that simple. It's just that simple. Again, we need a strong military. The military is a great thing. But nobody in the military wants to go to war. You don't join the military going, oh boy, I'm going to get to kill people. People don't join the military for that. When I was in, a lot of people were joining the military, guess what? For free college. Hillary just wants to give it to anybody. Oh, go ahead, have some free college. We don't care. Serve your country. Earn your college. Join the Peace Corps. Maybe earn some college money. You know, government or civil service will earn you college money. You don't have a right to an education. You don't have the right to the next meal on your table. This is life. You make the best of it. It's hard. But you don't have rights. There's hell, you don't even have the right to life. Because a hurricane will wipe you out like that. And who are you going to sue? For wrongful death? Nobody. You know, it was just a big tragedy down in Massachusetts over the weekend, where 4 college freshmen lost their lives by doing nothing but driving down the highway. And they were hit head on by somebody driving the wrong way on the highway. That's a tragedy. What rights do those 4 boys have? You know, all the rights in the world didn't save their lives. I'm just saying, a lot of people in this world have to realize that life is what you make it. It's not what the government makes it. It's what you make it. The government's going to do all that they can do to keep you poor and hungry because, again, it's easier to control people that are hungry and poor and weak and divided. Let's not forget that. It's easier for the government to control the population by division. I'm not sure if it came out of the art of war or where it came from, but the whole divide and conquer. Yeah. Don't tell us that the Russians are our enemies. when Russia has not made an attack on the United States, and don't give me the hacker crap either. Because a couple of years ago, it was all over the news that it was the Koreans that were hacking us and it was the Chinese that were hacking us. Could be some damn kid in his grandmother's friggin' basement doing all the hacking. You know? It's crazy. It's crazy. My time's winding down. I forgot to bring my computer, so I don't have any stupid facts other than the stupid facts that I just laid out to you. My point is, it's not us. We don't get a choice as to whether we go to war or not, and who we go to war with. I'm sure there are horrible people out there, and I'm sure there are horrible people out there that deserve to die. But again, until this country and the citizens of this country are all fat and happy, we've got no business going around the world telling everybody else they should be fat and happy. Start with here. Start with here. And build a country of strong, self-sufficient, proud people. It's that easy. And how do you make somebody proud? By giving them accomplishments. You don't make somebody proud by handing them a check. You make somebody proud by having them earn that check, having them accomplish something. That's why the first thing you do in the military when you jump out of bed is make your bed, because you've accomplished something first thing. That's all my time for this week. If you're watching on Facebook, share me. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You'll get every episode. Till next week, I'm Rick Blood. This is Unfiltered. Peace.